Hello and welcome to the show. There will always be those that like to shout loudly that limos shouldn't be in a motorsport game, and said people are completely and utterly wrong. You see, the fact of the matter is, motorsport is, at the end of the day, all about exciting, close, wheel-to-wheel, well, racing. And the thing is, when you have limos, a field of completely stock limos, you get some of the most exciting, some of the closest racing that we've ever done on a Forza game. So naturally, we were very keen to have another go on Forza 7. The first race, all we would do, headed to the Mugello, the shortened layout of Mugello, a track that, as it would turn out, would suit the limos incredibly well. The reason why you get such close racing with these vehicles, not only is it of course a single make race, everything is identical in terms of the cars, but because trying to get overtakes done is so difficult because of the sheer length of the cars. Things go a little bit wrong for me. I got a slight tap on the rear quarter of my car as I turned into the first corner that sent me out very wide indeed, and then it is straight into 3 limos wide through these opening chicanes. This is a place where fitting 2 cars wide normally is a bit sketchy, and we've got limos. There is a huge amount of metal trying to fit around these corners, and we're stuck 3 wide. The reason the overtakes are so difficult to complete is that you just can't quite get enough of an overlap through some of these corners, that you can't put your vehicle fully ahead, so you're stuck going side by side for great periods of time. It can take 3 or 4 corners, can take even a lap to get a pass set up to be completed, and during that time you're slowing each other down, which means the vehicles behind will catch up to you, although at this stage we're all slowing each other down because we're all going too wide as we head around to finish our first lap. I haven't been side by side, I haven't had a vehicle, side by side with it. I've not been too wide for this entire lap. For the entire opening lap, I have been with another car. Now, it's changed who I've been alongside. Admittedly, I have dropped down the order a few positions, but for an entire lap, I finally end up going back into line, having crossed the start-finish line, but I have quite a good run down towards this first corner. Nowhere to really go with it, though. My plan was, not helped by a little bit of a lock-up, was to go for a cutback on the exit, although I slightly misjudged the length of the car. Thought I had more space than I did, turn across the nose of a vehicle behind. It would perhaps have worked even, the cutback, had we not had a bit of a coming together with vehicles further back. First is starting to pull a little bit clear, then it's too wide, single car, I'm too wide with the black limo. The gold car runs wide on his own, that slows him down. I've got a mega run on the exit, but still nowhere to really go because I'm going to be stuck having to try and hug the outside in towards the next chicane. It is a very wide approach from me, and make sure we try our best to give each other as much space. Track limits were the suggestions for a lot of this, because we were trying really hard not to force each other off the road. We ended up giving a fair bit of room and a little bit of exploring from cars further ahead. I managed to just about sneak my nose to the front of this group as we head on to the start-finish line, and truth be told, at times this felt more like racing at Daytona, racing NASCARs in many ways, because we were going 3 wide in places where, I say in 3 wide, we were going 3 wide in packs through corners where you just don't normally go 3 wide at all. You'd never really try 3 wide maneuvers at this Mugello circuit, but we were doing it with limos, almost 4 wide, heading in towards the first corner. It's such a bizarre sight. But it's a huge amount of fun to be stuck in these groups. You really did have to be aware of where everybody's vehicle was at all times, as best you could anyway. I mean, you would get away because these weren't massively quick. They're actually not too bad to drive, but because they aren't massively quick, you get away with a little bit of trailing pain, a little bit of bumps here and there. That's why I didn't really mind too much if cars ended up escaping across the curbs at time to keep the racing alive. And again, much like with the oval racing, if you could escape one of these groups, if you got to the front of one of these groups and you could then start making things single file, you could make a lot of ground on the groups up ahead that were starting to fight. While it was still going 2 and 3 wide further back, you're not going to be making a huge amount of time. But it did mean that there was excitement to be had throughout the field wherever you were in these early stages, unless you were the leader who was running around on his own for large amounts of this. And this group's here still fighting it side by side. Up ahead you can see we've kind of organised ourselves into a single file, and we were wanting to try and make progress, try and catch the group ahead, run away from this group behind that was still determined to fight out. I mean, this is on to lap 3 or 4 now. You know, we're used to having crazy busy opening laps of races. That's always when it is the busiest. But we're 3 or 4 laps into the race, and they're still going 3 wide into the first corner, almost 4 wide. The black and green car ends up running out of space. The Mugello is a relatively wide circuit of some of the tracks that we could have gone to. And even here, you end up in situations where there is just simply not enough tarmac, where you're going to be stuck, you're going to have to be patient and wait for an opportunity to be able to draw alongside. The leader continued to escape away at the front because the battle for second was still raging on. This sort of purpley, greeny, interesting coloured car had got himself to second. Looked like he might have got himself a little bit clear of the battles, although running wide into the sand trap really won't help. Everybody pushed it too hard from this front group, all ending out across the sand. The pink car able to make the most of the opportunity to move up positions. I made the most of the opportunity to gain all of the time. That drew me onto the back of this group, and I was bringing a group of cars with me. Again, the leader, long gone, but second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, we were all in this train of cars. Now, trying to make progress up this train of cars wasn't particularly easy. Again, for the aforementioned overtaking difficulties. But it made for bloody good fun racing, just to be in the middle of these battles. I mean, these 3 cars had been battling solidly for 4 or 5 laps. At this point, they're trying to go 3 wide once more into the chicanes. The purpley green car and the white vehicle were to go side by side for entire laps around here, trying to look for ways past. The white car has got a good run on the outside. I've got nowhere to go. I can't put my car alongside, so I have to kind of pick the lane that I think is going to have the most speed, that's going to have the best opportunity for me to find a way past. Now, in trying to follow the vehicle that the camera is panning to at this particular moment in time, I'd got a good run. I was up alongside the white car, but couldn't make the pass stick, and likewise, the purple car couldn't quite get the pass completed fully on the white vehicle. There was still enough of an overlap as we headed around that final corner. The white car could shove his nose up the inside and was able to get back into the fight for third. The pink car ran a little bit wide and was slow out of that final corner, so that's almost an entire lap in which the white and purple car had been fighting side by side. I'd made a little mistake, ended up on the sand. That had dropped me back into the clutches of the gold car, so we were once more going 2 by 2s into this first car. Wasn't quite the solid 3x3 wide that we'd had earlier in the race, but still, we were fighting like this, all for second place and back, and still neither the white car nor the purple car could fully get a move completed. Neither of them could fully come out on top in this action. I was still trying to fight with the gold car, hadn't quite got that move done. I was stuck on the outside. Again, complete carbon copy of the previous lap here. The good news for the purple car in all this, the one place where he had been getting overtakes done was up the inside into the kind of second of the chicanes, and it would once again just prove enough. It would just work. Got to make sure you don't run out wide onto the sand there, otherwise you'll end up losing that position, but he was far enough clear now that the white car couldn't get an overlap. As I said, as far as the race for the leader went, it was get to the lead on lap 1 and run away while everybody else was busy squabbling for positions. He had a huge lead. I mean, you saw the fight that was going on. When you're side by side for so long through a lap, you are going to lose a stack of time. And when we were doing it lap after lap after lap, yeah, we lost heaps of time to the leader. In fact, you can barely see second place come round the final corner. And for a one-make race, that is a huge margin of victory. Fairly mundane time in some ways for the leader. For the rest of us, though, it was brilliant. In the end, the pink and purple cars in second and third would pull a little bit of a gap. They managed to get themselves organised and pull away from the big old tussle. The white car still fighting, trying to get back into a 4th place. Gets his nose up the inside, does get a better run out of the final corner. I was behind this. I had the best run of a lot of them, but just nowhere to go. Just absolutely nowhere to go. It was a huge amount of fun, though. I didn't really care that I ended up somewhere roughly around the mid-pack, because the race itself had been utterly incredible. There wasn't a lap where you weren't side by side with somebody. There wasn't a lap where you changed positions about 3 times in this midfield. It was absolutely excellent. I have a big silly dive. We're on the cooldown lap, so it didn't really matter. Somebody managed to throw a limo upside down into turn 1. So, there you go. Proper full-on FailRace video, this one. For our second race, we would head to the Road America West alternate layout. Now, Mugello had aided in many ways in the difficulty in overtaking because of the lot of left-right, almost sort of left-right immediately followed corners. Getting past these was especially difficult at Mugello. Road America was likely to be a little bit sensibler. Sensibler? More sensible. That's probably the better English. Turn 1 was a bit of a mess for cars further back. There was a lot of us on the grass because you simply couldn't see. Ahead of you was this sea of limos, and you hoped that the car ahead was staying on the track, and one car ran a little bit to the inside on the grass and we all followed them. So there was a whole heap of us that were off across the grass because you just followed the car ahead at that point. It was, I don't know what camera angles everybody was using, but certainly from cockpit view, visibility was really difficult in these early stages, and trying to make sure that you gave space to cars around you, try and make sure that you were avoiding collisions, did lead to a fair bit of track exploring around here. Track limits were liberal interpretations, shall we say, in this particular race. Often not intentionally. It was just one of those that somebody gets squeezed to the inside of the circuit, or you can't see because of the cars ahead of you. You take a guess and you get things a little bit wrong. Yeah, there was a little bit of exploring from a fair few vehicles, me included, around here. The car that the camera is following at the moment did a fantastic pass around the outside at one of the faster corners on the track. This red limo was coming under fire. The purple car trying to find a way alongside. And while, as I said, the circuit not as bad as Mugello I say not as bad, not as difficult to overtake as it had been at Mugello, still not easy. Still not easy at all to get your vehicle far enough past that you would be able to get that overlap. The purple car, though, carrying a huge amount of speed on the outside, was making the most progress out of all of us. The red car has a wheel on the grass, makes himself very slow off the corner. I have a fantastic run, but there's just nowhere to go with it as it's 3 wide. Again, it's almost 3x3 again into another hairpin. I have a wheel on the grass trying to get my car slowed down, and as the two on the inside busy fighting each other make themselves very slow, somehow, despite having got the braking all completely and utterly wrong, I end up out ahead of the lot of them, although I end up out wide around this very long final corner. The pink limo spots his opportunity. Now, while the two of us are going to start fighting for position, this red car that has lost out will then gain, as he's not going to worry about attacking or defending. The cars behind are too far back, and he's not going to be compromised through this turn. Now, in the end, I come out of this the better between me and the pink limo. The pink car gets stuck on the inside and can't quite carry the speed. The red limo, though, isn't compromised at all. I'm probably slower out of that corner than the red car. So, yeah, sometimes being further back from a battle can be quite advantageous. You can make the most of opportunities because you're not having to have your line compromised, whether you're attacking or defending or whatever. You can just focus on getting that good line. And I'm still fighting it, stuck out on the outside. I'm bounced out wide, keep my foot down, and do get away with it. The red car's trying to follow me on my march up through the field, tries to get to the inside. I don't think the black limo actually realised he was there. Into the next corner, the black car gets a wheel on the grass, can't slow down. In the end, that sees me carted out onto the grass, and the red limo would pick up the pieces. Again, right place at the right time, and you will make your way up through the order. If you started down towards the bottom of the field, winning the race was practically out of the question. You just simply couldn't get through the field quick enough, because even here, even with it being easier to overtake at Road America, you would still get stuck down in battles, and other cars would be able to run in cleaner air. The purple vehicle would get ambitious, trying to make it 3 wide at the top of the hill. That is not a place you normally fit 3 cars wide. Again, a bit of liberal interpretations of track. Well, I think most of them were off the track at some point. Around that particular corner, everybody survived. The black and green car is, again, the one that's picking up the pieces in this instance, able to make up a lot of ground, is having a look up the inside into this rather tight corner. The gold limo not giving up, though. The gold limo's around the outside at that tight hairpin, and the purple car can't get the move completed. Once more, he's having to spend 2 or 3 corners to try and get this pass done. He's now stuck on the outside for this long final corner. The gold limo isn't able to get the position back, but he's still is not completed. It's still compromising the purple car constantly. In the end, the purple vehicle helped out massively by one of the limos behind having an attack on the inside into that first corner, and that's able to slow, or it does slow the gold car down enough that the gold vehicle's no longer compromising the purple car, that now moves up into a 4th place. But yeah, it's a frantic racing. Not quite as crazy as Mugello, but still on the rather bonkers side of things. As you saw, I got dumped off the track. I actually fell all the way to the back of the field. Did not take long to catch back up to the vehicles. For that one lap, when you're dumped to the back of the field, you have glorious clear air. You go really very quickly to catch up to the field, who then you once get into battles and everything all goes a lot slower. More fun. Much more fun when you're in the battles, but it is considerably slower. This group, we had a lap of kind of fighting, and then a lap where everybody sort of sorts themselves out into a line, and then we go back to a lap of fighting again. The pink car starting this lot off. A small mistake around the final corner. Gets on the grass a little bit too much, slows him, slows the white car. I get a good run, as did the black limo behind me as we head into the first corner. I'm trying to go around the outside of the white vehicles. Everybody's all checking up into the next part. I get a bump from behind. We all get kind of bumped wide into this particular section. The white limos come off the worst of all of that, being sort of stuck on the outside and carted out wide. We, you know, I make kind of the most of the situation. We move up a place. However, the vehicles, you know, ended up in trouble. By no means out of contention. Having gone for a little bit of an explore across the grass, the white car's now the one that's not being compromised by anybody. So he's lost all of the places, but he can get straight back into the fight, because now they're starting to fight each other. Now they're going slow. He almost goes 3 wide. He gets the best run of everybody. Can't quite find the space because, well, funny enough, there's a whole load of limos right there as they're going to now go side by side into the next corner. I'm hoping I can make a little bit of a getaway. I've managed to break that side by side effect, if you like, as they're still going too wide. The white limo leaves it a little bit too late. I don't even know how to wheel on the grass. A little bit too late. Ends up out wide. Has to fall back into line, but yeah, there is, again, fighting almost all the way through the field. And with passes taking 3 or 4 corners to complete, as soon as 2 vehicles started fighting for position, that 2-car battle really easily became a 3 or a 4-car battle. Because as soon as you're stuck like this, as soon as you get in this kind of a situation, you lose so much speed. The black limo carrying a little bit too much into the final corner, gets skated or skates himself out wide. The gold limo keen to go for a cutback, gets himself to the inside, but again, it's that whole trying to complete the pass, get enough of an overlap there. He can't do it. He's now got to try. Your best bet here is to compromise the car on your inside as much as you can, and sure enough, the gold vehicle is, again, keeping that overlap. Not quite got the drive out of the corner that he needs, but he kept that overlap, hasn't allowed the vehicle ahead to kind of escape away, but that was, what, a third of a lap? And what was a 2-car battle that was, you know, clearly ahead of the green and red vehicles behind has now become a 4-car battle. Now, of course, when the vehicles ahead are running single file, are running organised, they'll run away from this group so very quickly. Yeah, it didn't take long for little battles to quickly become these huge big fights. Yeah, it wasn't quite as chaotic at Road America. This circuit didn't quite generate the same huge train of cars. It wasn't an easy ride for the leader, though. He did get to the lead fairly early on, but wasn't able to really pull away. These two, while very close on circuit, were never quite close enough to start slowing each other down. Had the blue and white car been a fraction closer, a fraction faster, they could well have slowed each other down and pulled themselves back towards 3rd and 4th place. As it was, they managed to run cleanly and stay out of trouble. A bit of a dive bomb on the cooldown lap from the vehicle behind, but yeah, by just being fast enough, the black limo was able to keep himself out of those big battles that cost you such a huge amount of time. Yeah, the limos are excellent fun. It's certainly at Mugello, it was a really almost surreal form of racing. Being stuck 2 and 3 wide for so long through like entire laps you would be spent side by side with other cars, unable to get passes complete, did feel very much like some of the oval racing that I have done. It was really rather interesting, really rather good fun. Road America, a little bit more of a normal race, but still, once you got stuck in groups, very difficult to make progress, but the actual racing itself was a huge amount of fun. So yeah, limo racing is as spectacular as it always has been, and it is something that I very highly recommend that you have a go with, because yeah, probably some of the most intense races you will do will feature some massive bloody limos. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.